Hello. So this is new. Look at this. This is the World Wrestling Federation review of World Wrestling. I got that completely wrong. This is a review of World Wrestling Federation Superstars from March the 7th, 1992. God, I'm so gorgeous. So the opening contest was a tag team match between the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions, Money Inc., which was the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, and not the $1 Million Man, Owen I. Shyster. And they took on the team of Jim Powers and Terry Davis. And obviously, Money Inc. won. They won. $1 Million Man had Davis, I think, in the sleeper, the $1 Million Dream, and tagged in Owen I. Shyster, who hit the write-off for the three. Next was a video segment, where they announced that The Undertaker would be taking on Jake the Snake Roberts at WrestleMania 8. And pretty much, it was along the lines of this. Jake Roberts, your time is coming. And you will face the Reaper. Yes. So it's Undertaker v Jake at WrestleMania. Next match was the British Bulldog versus Lee Armstrong. And Bulldog won this with a running power slam, which he was very good at. Next match was Shawn Michaels versus Scott Henn. Nothing really major happened in the match. Shawn won with obviously the pin. He won following a side suplex, which was just like brutal, but he got him the win. The infamous what that happened in this match, or before this match and after this match, was the theme tune. Yes, this was the debut. Oh, Shawn! Of the Sexy Boy theme song, and this version was sung by Sherry. So yes, this was the debut of that very theme song. Next match was the Native American Tatanka. He took on Doug Summers. Guess what? Tatanka won. Yeah, he won by pin. And Vince made a big deal at the end of this by saying Tatanka was undefeated. He'd only be in the company a month. Next match was the Brooklyn Brawler. Well, actually, before we get to that, after the Tatanka Doug Summers squash, they did an interview with the Nature Boy, World Wrestling Federation champion Ric Flair, and Mr. Perfect, in his dressing room with Mean Gene Oakland. And it started with them showing the camera panning around the room, and you could see the robes and pictures and stuff like. So then Gene went to Rick and said, "What all these allegations that you've got something on the Macho Man Randy Savage? What's this about?" And he went, "Do you know something, Gene?" And he pulled out a WWF magazine. He looked at the title and he goes, "Well, the latest magazine hasn't been released yet." He went, "No, look at the title." And it said something along the lines of incriminating photos of Elizabeth. So eventually, after Flair doing his brilliant, what Flair did, he's one of the best talkers in the game, he pulled out this photo where it's him looking at Elizabeth, looking at him from a yacht. Yes, that's right. He was saying that, not only am I the greatest wrestler, of all time, he didn't do that, but I'm also the greatest lover. Because he said that he had Elizabeth before Randy had Elizabeth. So she is damaged goods because he dumped her. And that is probably the storyline that they went with. And I remember this storyline. So yeah, I started watching it around this time, so I remember that storyline. So yeah. But Ric Flair, woo! said he's the greatest of all time, in and out of the ring. But that's Ric Flair for you. Woo! And then the next match, as I said before, was Brooklyn Brawler. He took on the Big Boss Man, and the Big Boss Man won this by basically doing the Sidewalk Slam. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. The commentary was basically totally ignored this match and just talked about the pictures and Mr. Perfect trying to deflect. It's all true, yep, it's all true. And Miz was like, yeah, I don't believe you. I was like, oh, well, Ric Flair, he always tells the truth, There's not a lying bone in his body. And then the main event in the ring was Sid Justice taking on Mickey J. As you can imagine, it didn't last very long. Sid badmouthed Hogan at the start of the match. Said, if you're a friend of Hogan's, then you're not a friend of mine. Blah, 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 blah. One point, Mickey J was thrown out the ring, and Harvey Whippleman, who's Sid Justice's manager, threw ashes on him, yes, because Harvey Whippleman at that point in time was smoking a cigar. So he threw ashes on him, and then Sid going back in the ring and said, this is Hulk Hogan, and then powerbomb Mickey J basically to hell. 1, 2, 3, thank you very much. And then they brought a stretcher out, put Mickey J on it, hung a sign on him that said call 911, and put a Hulkamania bandana on his head, and then Sid just went, don't like you anyway, and kicked him in the chest, and he came flying off the stretcher. So yes, building up to Sid and Hogan at Mania. But that was Superstars for March the 7th. Nothing. As always, as with Superstars, you don't get much development on it. The promos are the main things I watch them for, to be honest, because it gives me an insight on the matches and stuff. They announced a few matches for Mania in this show. They mentioned obviously Shawn taking on El Matador, and I'm not going to do his promo because slightly distasteful. That was Vince in 92, that's what he thinks would work. Other matches, they announced the British Bulldog taking on the Berserker, Mosley Taker, Jake, Flair, Savage, Sid, Hogan. They also mentioned, well, they didn't mention it, but I know in the update they said that Owen Hart was going to take on Skinner. So yeah, some matches are getting announced. Some other matches will be announced in the near future. But other than that, that is your World Wrestling Federation Superstars for March the 7th, 1992. I know it's been a while, but things are going on, things behind the scenes in my world. Good things, bad things, new things, and different things. It's all cooking. But other than that, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and as always, I'll see you at ringside.